Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we got a good one here as we see the American Sim Racing Club Next Gen Series take on race number 9. That, of course, being the Bristol Motor Speedway. These guys getting ready for this championship here as the playoffs start in just 2 weeks after tonight. It'll be actually a week after tonight as they go to Kansas next week and then they head to Richmond. So, a lot to be had here tonight. Some drivers near the cut. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. Tonight, we'll be talking not with a driver, but someone who drives a lot of these American Sim Racing Club series and a fellow competitor. He's a series admin. It is going to be the 93 machine of Andrew Payne. So, we're going to get a little bit of the words from our admin here tonight and talk with Andrew. We'll see if he's got a copy. Andrew, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I do got a copy, Brett.
Alrighty, Andrew. How you doing tonight? You excited to admin a short track here?
I'm doing really good, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully tonight's race is a little bit better than our Martinsville race earlier this year.
Yeah, that we gotta hope so. A record number of cautions there, and tonight a few less cars, so hopefully that'll help. But it seems like Bristol always puts on a good show here in the league. And last time we were here, this place was covered in dirt. Tonight we come to the pavement side. How do you think the racing's gonna be?
I think we're going to see some of our usual suspects up there. I know right now, and with practice rolling, I got Tanner up top, and but I mean, you got to make it to the end here. 150 laps is a long time. There's a lot of time to make some mistakes, and good comers and goers. And I think if we get a longer run, I think we're going to see some real tire strategy with people maybe saving early, and maybe some of those guys will just burn off their tires a little bit too much. And I think it's going to be a good one.
I think so as well, Andrew. And, talking with you, we get a different perspective. We hear a lot from the drivers going on. But you, as an admin, you got a whole different set of rules. Tell us a little bit what it's like to admin and, what do you have to kind of deal with on a weekly basis?
Yeah, the race control and admin role is a little more. Sometimes I can find it to be a little more hectic than being the driver. Um, Especially on tracks like this. Martinsville is a perfect example. I had to watch I have to look through and watch every start and restart, making sure people are staying in lanes and everything like that, staying within that speed of the pace car. And it's sometimes it pains me a little bit, not being able to throw cautions for certain instances, but that's sort of how we set the precedent for this season. However, I think that might be changing for next season. But sometimes it's really stressful. But other nights we do have some really, really fun, exciting nights. When we ran Atlanta a few weeks ago with that exciting finish, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I know I need to watch for certain race control aspects, but virtual or not, I get super excited to watch, cars go around in circles for a few hours each night, and it's a blast, but it definitely has its stressful moments.
Yeah, that it does. A lot to do as the admins are the backbone of these series. Make things happen behind the scenes and don't get as much credit as you guys deserve for the most part. You guys make all the great stuff happen, get the people here, and of course have a great place to run. And Andrew, we hear a lot about the tough stuff, but what's your favorite part about adminning? I mean, there's got to be at least some stuff you look forward to. Like you said, probably the racing. And is there anything else?
What like you're saying, I do enjoy watching the racing from a an outsider's point of view, and but I don't know, I sort of enjoy. It's this might be from coming as a kid, trying to do NR 2003 series, but I enjoy making the schedules. And I when we have certain issues, I do really enjoy testing the cars, testing the setups at certain tracks that we may have to tweak some stuff in. Um, I don't know. It does. Being like the race control definitely gives me a different perspective on how racing events go, and it gives me a new respect for everyone who actually does the race control in real life too. I'm sure it is a little more chaotic when you get a 40 car field or a 36 car field like they do on Sundays in the actual Cup series. But it's a ton of fun, and I know it sometimes it hurts me to not be able to run some of these really good races, but it's it is a ton of fun to just be able to see something that you've created and worked hard to make be successful in the way it is.
Yeah, I tell you what, I bet it does feel awesome, Andrew. And you do a great job. I tell you what, you've grown a lot as a sim racer, in the years that I've known you, and a lot as an admin. And I know you probably, a lot of stress going into it at first, but I tell you what, you've turned out to be pretty good. And Andrew, I know you have some real life racing accomplishments I'm sure you want to talk about here quickly before we, of course, go racing, let's say. And yeah, what's kind of got you into racing? What are some good accomplishments that you've had both in the sim and real life?
Well, started racing actually. Went and saw a buddy of mine in like first, second grade run some quarter midgets out at one of the local tracks around here. And next weekend, my grandparents said we found a car for you. Never once asked me if I actually wanted to race or anything, but went and bought it and went out and started running quarter midgets in 2009, and then moved up to the mini cup cars at some of the bigger tracks around here. And I do have one junior late model start to my name, but at that point in time, it was either go racing or go to college, and college was sort of the route to go. But started sim racing about the time I started the mini cups, and the first few years were a little rough, having to learn. But especially in the last 3 or 4 years, I feel like I've really improved a lot. Some huge accomplishments. I believe it's the 2014 and 2015 California Mini Cup champion, so that's really huge. Um, got a 24-hour win, I believe, in 2021 on the virtual side of things with actually some of our admins, Tanner and Tim. And I know you guys were running your a different car at the same time, and I believe you guys won as well. Um, and then I'd argue that this league and this series is another thing that I'm proud to be a part of. Tanner coming to us beginning of 2021 with this idea, and it's been a ton of fun the last couple of years, and really looking forward to continuing on with it.
Yeah, so am I, Andrew. It's been a pleasure here to be a part of the growth, be the broadcaster, the only broadcaster of the series, and watch it turn out to what it's been. Andrew, you've done an awesome job. We appreciate the work, and can't wait to see what you have in store here for the future of it, because I tell you what, keep up the good work, as I think we're about halfway through with the qualifying here, and I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and, give you the rare shout out on a Tuesday night to, thank who you got to thank, and who makes this series possible.
Well, first and foremost, huge thanks to you, Brett, and the Turn 3 guys. Really appreciate you taking time out of your evening to broadcast some virtual circles here. And like you said, you've been with us since the start of me race controlling, and I really appreciate it a lot. Huge shout out to the rest of the admins: Tanner, Dave, Nick, Tim, Zach. Those guys do a lot of work behind the scenes, outside of their own series too, to help the league as a whole. Um, huge shout out to just every one of the racers that come out and support the league. We definitely would not be here without them, and I think that's about it. Looking forward to tonight's race.
Yeah, so are we, Andrew, and I'm sure there's some more stuff here you got to do before we go green flag racing. So, Andrew, once again, huge thanks for you coming in the booth, giving us a little bit of insight onto what goes behind the scenes, and you have yourself a great rest of your night, buddy. Hopefully, it's not too much work up there in the booth tonight.
Yep, thank you, Brett. Good luck, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, Andrew, have a good one.
You too.
Alrighty, folks, that was Andrew Payne, the driver of the number 93 car on the Wednesday and sometimes Sunday nights. As we now head over to our racing action, we saw some cars on track for qualifying, and Ron, the Hitman Hart, going to be walking away with the quick time there in the 51 machine. Stephen Hoffman will start second, Hayden Swank in third. So we'll now head down trackside and go over tonight's starting order here for 150 laps for race number 9 of the American Sim Racing Club Next Gen Series. So we start back in P number 17, that going to the 8 car of Kyle Munson. Then we head down to P15, that will go to the 1 car of Tanner Tallarico. Starting in 14th, is Zach Rush in the 82 machine. 13th will be Deontay Hero in the Buckshot 00 Heatwave machine. Starting in 12th is Tristan Perry in the 81 machine with John Kane in the number 9 starting in 11th. Then we head into our top 10 starting in the 10th position will be the 37 machine of Brandon Marlowe. Flying Brian Wilderson in the 951 will start P number 9. Then we head down to P number 8. That will be the 6th car of Eric Strout. Starting in 7th, glad to see him back. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Rogers will start P number 7 in the 48. Starting just in front of him in P number 6 is the 38 machine of Dave Payne. Then we head down to our top 5. Starting P number 5 is Devin McDonald in the 18. AJ Hamill in the 44, making his first start with us here in this series, will start in P number 4. Hayden Swank in the 35 machine will start in 3rd. Then we head to our front row. Stephen Hoffman in the 23 machine will start outside front row, with Ron the Hitman Hart in the 51 machine starting on the pole and leading us to the green flag. As that will do it here for our starting order. These cars ready to rock and roll as we get cars rolling on the speedway here, folks. We get them ready to go, as I believe Ron Hart will start at the back of the field. So Ron Hart getting an EOL, same with the 18 machine of Devin McDonald. So that will mean Hayden Swank in the 35 machine will move up in those rows. Will start on the pole, lead the field to the green flag, with, it looks like, Tim Rogers moving all the way up from the 7th starting position all the way to P number 3. So we'll keep an eye on these drivers here as they get ready to rock and roll here tonight. As this time by at the start finish line, we'll get the 1 to go signal from the field. The iRacing pace car lights are already extinguished. So this time by, we will get the 1 to go as this field gets ready to rock and roll for 150 laps here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Looks like Kyle Munson does not make the call here tonight in the number 8, so we will have 15 cars out on track doing battle at the high banks. The last great Coliseum, it's the Bristol Motor Speedway. We will have to see what lines become dominant. It used to be back in the day, people would run the bottom, then quickly move up to the top side. I've heard recently with these next-gen cars, you keep it down near the bottom, so we'll have to see what line comes on in, as this track is concrete, it handles heat differently. But off of turn number 4, the fuel will come. Hayden Swank on the loud pedal here. We go green flag racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Side by side for the race lead here, Hayden Swank. Shorter distance to travel. He'll take over the race lead here by about a car length over Stephen Hoffman. AJ Hamill will slot into P number 3 as we already complete lap number 1 here in the books. And of course, these laps gonna fly on by tonight's end of tonight's race, as this field, 19-second or less lap times here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Excuse me, I said 19. How about we go 15 seconds around this track? So 15 seconds is the time it takes to make a whole circuit around this track. So this race is going to go by in a hurry, as, AJ Hamill has to get out of the throttle big time. He loses the front end just a little bit. I don't know. He was definitely close, but he might have just got a piece of the wall. And now Arts Barbershop, number 44 machine, Stephen Hoffman, looked to the inside of Hayden Swank. That time AJ Hamill gets a piece of the wall. But Stephen Hoffman tried to look to the inside of Hayden Swank, but nothing doing. Almost loses P number 2, but able to get back up to that top side here on lap number 5. Further on back, side by side, John Kane getting passed by, it looks like, Zach Rush there, as Kyle Munson does make it out on the speedway. So Kyle Munson does make it on out, so, or excuse me, he does not, as he's still out. As we take a look here deep in the field, as Deontay Hero and looks like Devin McDonald go side by side, they sort themselves out. But up front, side by side battle once again for the race lead. Stephen Hoffman trying to get around that 35 machine of Swank. Hoffman down low in the 23. Swank up top. AJ Hamill a little out of shape off of turn number 2, but keeps that thing righted in the right direction as Brian Wilderson trying to make something happen on that low side. He's one of the few cars making that inside line work here tonight as he goes door to door with Hamill for P number 3. So side by side, already 10 laps in of tonight's scheduled 150 laps. So like I said, folks, laps flying on by as we got the battle for P number 3. Wilderson down low, Hamill up top, and Wilderson will clear himself. Move Brian Wilderson up into P number 3 as it looks like Hamill gets a piece of the wall again. We're going to go ride to the back, to the front bumper, excuse me, of Brian Wilderson and see what's making him so quick as we ride on board with the 951 Project Watershed. So we see those lap times on the bottom of our screen with Brian Wilderson, and you can see how much he's moved up. Wilderson up 6 or 7 positions if he does get around Stephen Hoffman as Hayden Swank gets in the wall. This opens up the door now for Wilderson to go for the race lead. So battle for the race lead here as Brian Wilderson making that inside line work. They go door to door for P number 1. Almost contact though on the front stretch. That throws Wilderson off his line. And he does get clear of Hayden Swank. He'll shut the door down the backstretch. So new race leader here on lap number 15. Flying Brian Wilderson, wasting no time to get out front. The question is, how are those tires going to fare? Did he kill him to get on up there? We'll find out as this run continues here. Has been green flag all now. 17 laps at the stripe so far. As now Stephen Hoffman to the outside of Hayden Swank. Swank knowing it's too early to do a heavy battling just yet here on lap number 18 of 150. So Hoffman will take over P number 2 and try and keep pace with our race leader, Brian Wilderson. So it looks like Wilderson best pace right now. Hoffman trying to match it to keep the pressure on him. Swank kind of falling off just a little bit. I think he's trying to save some tire here early in this run. Tim Rogers still hanging on to that 4th position in that Bass Pro Shop number 48 machine. And Dave Payton, last car in the top 5. It's in P number 5 here. One car making up some spots as well is the one car of Tanner Tallarico. He finds himself up in the top 10 here. Currently P number 10 for that number 1 Boardwalk submachine. So everyone's spread on out for the most part here. Dan McDonald trying to get around Zach Rush. This is the battle for P number 11 here on the track, and pretty much the only battle here at the moment. So we'll keep an eye here on this battle and see how it shakes on out, as Deontay Hero right there as well in case one of these drivers does make a mistake. Up in front, you can see Tanner Tallarico trying to make the moves on the 81 machine of Tristan Perry. So these guys continue to go side by side here, both pretty even to each other. So neither of them able to get the pass on each other. So they just keep on running their own line, hitting their marks, as McDonald loses now some time to Zach Rush, but McDonald gets on the loud pedal and gets right side by side with the 82 machine once again. You can tell that high line, you can drive it in a lot deeper than those cars on the inside, but you see the difference in the speed from that apex, you know, a lot shorter distance down low, but then the high side has that run off the corner. So these guys still stay side by side for P number 11. With Tristan Perry right in front of them, kind of falling on back to this battle, as now Devin McDonald does get clear of Zach Rush. So McDonald now looks to the inverse of his car number. He looks to get around this 81 machine here and try and get up into the top 10. As McDonald to the inside of Perry, and he will clear him as Perry gets a piece of the wall here in 3 and 4. This could open up the door now to those cars right behind him on the speedway, as Deontay Hero now trying to make that 00 machine work down low. It looks like he will get around Zach Rush and now sets his sights on the 81 machine. So they get cleared. Deontay Hero up into P number 11. Now John Kane trying to do the same. It looks like he will clear him off at turn number 4. So Kane goes back to P number 12 here, as it looks like everyone sorts himself on out. One car very far to the back. That is Ron Hart just kind of riding on around. He's hoping for a yellow at some point, but so far everyone very spread out here at the moment. We look up to some closer battles on the speedway. One being Eric Strout in the number 6 with Brandon Marlowe in the Hot Lap Heroes number 37 machine. Now Hot Lap Heroes getting a lot of people in that series, very much committed and dedicated to ASRC, so of course got to give them a huge shout out. The Sunday Night Dirt Series, I want to say they had close to 10 different drivers of that Hot Lap Heroes stable show on up and run that dirt series, all of them making the big dance as well. So that is very impressive and shows the skill that these guys have. And Brandon Marlowe, definitely a dirt guy, but holding his own on this pavement side of things, just outside of the top 5 as he battles Eric Strout here for P number 7. With our newcomer Eric Strout, we have a little bit of driver information on him. He is from the Arlington, Virginia area, as we ride on board with him. We're gonna go actually ride on board with him while we talk about him. So we're gonna go front dash here, get up on the screen some lap time, see where he's making up some speed, as he is currently P number 7, as he does get around Brandon Marlowe up one spot from where he started. And he's from Arlington, Virginia. Favors racing series, the Tour mods and the SK mods, so really enjoys those East Coast mods. And I tell you what, those things are definitely awesome to watch if you ever get a chance to check them out in real life. It is crazy the corner speed those things have with those 14-inch tires. His favorite real life track car combo, gotta go with the classic, either Stafford or Thompson here with the Tour or SK mods. And I tell you what, those things are definitely awesome, especially around those tracks. I got to see some SK mods last year, 2 years ago, excuse me, at Stafford. Sorry, last year, and that was definitely awesome to watch. If he's not on the sim, you can find Eric here either on the greens at the golf course or checking out the best bourbons in the area. And I tell you what, Virginia has some great ones. As we get some battles out here on the speedway, we take a look now as Tim Rogers falling on back here a little bit. Lap traffic of the 81 machine and Tristan Perry throwing a wrench here in these battles, as Strout now trying to get up in the top 5 as he has caught the back bumper of that Pinkerton number 38 machine of Dave Payton. So out in front, Brian Wilderson continuing to lead the way. Now Hayden Swank has reclaimed P number 2. Stephen Hoffman has slid back into 3rd. AJ Hamill up into 4th, and Dave Payne rounding out the top 5, but has Eric Strout in this number 6 machine breathing down his neck as we have 2 cars going to lap down, that being the 82 and 81 machine. Next car in danger of going to lap down, that is John Kane, about little under half a track back, so still some time to get to the back bumper of him, but we got to keep an eye on that, as this race has been green flagged so far this whole way of our first 45 laps of the scheduled 150. As Brian Wilderson leads the way, Hayden Swank though closing the gap, so we're gonna have to see how this battle shakes on out, because now the gap is about 0.3 of a second, but we go up to a 4-car battle here on the speedway. Tim Rogers in 7th, Brandon Marlowe 8th, Devin McDonald 9th, Tanner Talarico 10th, and these cars all on top of each other here as we close in to our 3rd of the way mark done with this race. McDonald trying to roll the top side of Brandon Marlowe, but has Tim Rogers in his way We'll see if he crosses him on over, and that he does. He takes his big run and now looks to the inside of that 48 machine here in turns number 3 and 4. McDonald making that pass look easy. He finds himself up into P number 7 here at the moment, as Tanner Tallarico struggling a little bit to get that car around these guys, as he is a little bit slow. But up front, battle for the race lead. Hayden Swank to the outside of Brian Wilderson. They go side by side here through 3 and 4, and off at turn number 4. Hayden Swank will reclaim the race lead here on lap number 50. We saw Hayden Swank his pace a little bit slower at the start. He was planning for a long run, and he is definitely getting that here as he takes back the race lead here. As we go back up to this battle, now Ron Hart has entered in this 4-car battle. So 4 cars all under a blanket here at Bristol from 8th place on back here at the moment. Ron Hart, quick time here tonight, so we know that 51 machine has some speed, but had to start tail end of the field with the EOL penalty. And we'll see what he can do from there, as he goes side by side with Brandon Marlowe. That is the battle for P number 8 here at the moment. 2 cars down pit road already. Looks like Zach Rush and Tristan Perry both have brought it pit side here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Tanner Tallarico now battling his buddy Tim Rogers. They go side by side down the backstretch. Tallarico almost clears Rogers, but not quite. But off of turn number 4, he will get the job done. So Tallarico back up into 10th, with Rogers falling back to P number 11. Brian Wilderson sliding back to 2nd now, and now Stephen Hoffman closing the gap for P number 2. These guys doing battle here, are gonna be doing battle here in just a moment, as AJ Hamill, he was taking care of his stuff in that 44 Arts Barbershop. He has entered the battle as well here, and he wants to get that 2nd position, try and get 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll see how this battle unfolds for P number 2. A little bit of contact there into turn number 1. Stephen Hoffman giving Brian Wilderson a shot. Both cars entering on the low side. So not sure if Hoffman guessed the line wrong or just is letting Wilderson know, hey, I'm right here, buddy, if you do make a mistake. AJ Hamill seeing that Hoffman staying down low. He says, all right, if you want to stay on the low side, I'll jump to this high side. As Hoffman gets a little bit loose there, 1 and 2. He'll slide on up right to the door. Brian Wilderson off at turn number 2. More contact here for P number 2 as they've door bang a little down the backstretch. Now these guys can't stay side by side too long, because Eric Strout has caught this battle as well. That 6 car creeping into the right side of your screen. So he's right here trying to make this a 4-car dance here for P number 2. AJ Hamill now to the inside of Brian Wilderson. Stephen Hoffman does get clear once again back up into P number 2. Now Hamill going to try and do the same thing, run that low side and try and get around this 951 of flying Brian Wilderson. Hamill looks like he'll clear, not quite down the front stretch. Doesn't shut the door on Wilderson. Pretty surprised by that, but this time Hamill will do just that. He'll shut the door. He'll take over P number 3, as we have the 81 machine of Tristan Perry trying to get on through with those fresh tires. He did come down pit road with some sort of issue, but does get that car back out on the speedway. So, but he finds himself back 10 laps down here at the moment. So side, not quite anymore. Brian Wilderson falls back to P number 5 as Eric Strout makes quick work of him in that number 6 machine. So Strout looking very quick. We're going to go take a look maybe at some times here and see what the difference is of these times. If we can get some, maybe we'll get some mile per hour last time by here. as Hayden Swank continues to lead the way in tonight's race. He reclaimed the lead right around lap 50, and since then hasn't looked back, has a 3-second advantage over Stephen Hoffman, who is slowly getting chased down by AJ Hamill. We got to ride on board with Hamill. We got a roof cam on with this number 44 machine. We'll take a look here at these lap times as Hamill up one spot from where he started here and trying to get around that 23 machine. Further on back, Dave Payne losing a couple spots. That too looks like Devin McDonald, Ron Hart back up into the top 5 now. So Hart has some momentum in that 51 machine. We knew he had it because he qualified quick time, but now up into P number 5 here at the moment. So Ron Hart trying to close the gap just a little bit. He's got a lot of time. 3 wide race in action here at the moment as Devin McDonald gets around Brian Wilderson. It looks like Deontay Hero trying to get some lap backs. He did pit Tanner Talarico down pit road now. Tim Rogers was down pit road as well. So green flag pit stops are upon us here, folks, as drivers try and cut this race right in half here. As Dave Payne in with this battle. He's battling with the 951 machine of Brian Wilderson as he goes to the outside of Wilderson. Deontay here in this battle, but a lap down here has came down pit road already. As Wilderson will slow on down. I bet he plans to come down pit road here sooner than later. Up front, AJ Hamill about the same gap to Stephen Hoffman. So Brian Wilderson does come down pit road now. He'll see what he can do. As about half the field now has come down pit road. We'll wait for the other half. That seems like they're about doing a halfway mark here tonight. As when it cycles on out, it looks like Tim Rogers, best car from pit road. Rogers having a solid, Brian Wilderson, first car down pit road. So Tim Rogers does go a lap down here. So lapping up into P number 8, that being done by the 35 machine of Hayden Swank. As Brandon Marlowe is on fresh tires. Marlowe trying to get one of those 3 laps back from our race leader. It looks like he will get it back the hard way here. So it looks like you'll go about 2 laps down if you end up pitting under green. And that's happening a lot here as Dave Payne comes down pit road. Same with the 48 machine of Tim Rogers, both cars down on pit road. As we now look for the battle here for P number 2. Hamill within 2 car lengths of our race lead. As we got Jake out here in the chat lands. How you doing tonight, Jake? It is Brent the Jet here in the house, bringing the coverage here tonight from race number 9 of the American Sim Racing Club Next Gen Series here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Be sure to tune in next week as we got this regular season finale, the cutoff race for our playoffs. We're taking the top 12, and from that, we'll decide our champion as we do the elimination playoff style races. As now we have everyone but the top 5 down pit road, that being Hayden Swank, Stephen Hoffman, AJ Hamill, Eric Strout, and Ron Hart still have not came down pit road. As we see Brian Wilderson flying on by these cars, same with Tanner Talarico. Just shows you the speed difference here of those fresh tires. Tanner Talarico getting by both cars in one corner with those fresh tires. As we get a yellow flag here tonight in the middle of green flag pit stop. So that's going to throw a big wrench in everyone's plans, as there's only going to be one wave round car and you can only get one of your laps back, as we try and figure out what happened here. As we have a damaged, it looks like Devin McDonald, as we try and see what happened to the 00 heat wave machine. Here did come down pit road, I want to say right around lap number 70, and contact between him and Devin McDonald. Big time contact for both of those cars on the front stretch. We'll watch again here to try and make a call, but always very tough to make a call as it looks like Hero just got loose, and Dev McDonald, innocent bystander, and luckily doesn't hit the wall, but makes pretty good contact with Hero. And oh man, Brandon Marlowe, just an innocent bystander, gets a big piece of that as well. That car heavily damaged, so you hate to see that for that 37 machine of Marlowe. We're going to ride on board with Brandon Marlowe, see what he saw. See, he only sees one car, now sees two cars down there, hoping they stay down there, but Hero gets hit up the racetrack, and Brandon Marlowe having no time to react, so a tough break there as that does damage that suspension on that car and probably will be the end of the night for that number 37 machine. So Brandon Marlowe having some tough luck here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So we are under our first caution here of the night here right around lap 85 as we get ready for, I believe we've had green flag pit stops as all the top 5 came in on lap 83. All the cars in front of our race leader Hayden Swank gonna get the wave around here at the 1 to go time. So looks like all the cars that did pit under green, you know, gonna be at least one lap down, if not more. So this caution definitely not optimal for half the field, as we'll see the top 5 only cars on the lead lap once you go green flag racing here. As this race, folks, flying on by here tonight, already over halfway done in tonight's race, and you know, I've only been live for about 40 minutes, and that includes, you know, qualifying and all that fun stuff and our pre-race shenanigans. So this race flying on by, lights extinguished on top of the iRacers pace car. We are getting ready to go green here off of turn number 4. Hayden Swank leading the way to the green flag. You will wait to jump on it, and now through the sequential gearbox, Swank goes. He'll lead the field down in turn number 1, gets away with a great start. The question is, did he move before the line? We'll have to find out here, but we're gonna go do some turn 3, turn it up while we have the field bunched on up. I'm gonna take a break from talking. We come back live here. One car having some big time issues. That was the 6 machine of Eric Strout. Almost getting the inside wall there on the front stretch a few laps ago. Does slide on back from the field, but of course, with only 5 cars on the lead lap, stays up into P number 5 as Stephen Hoffman, new race leader at 23 machine, leading the way here tonight as AJ Hamill now on the back bumper of Hayden Swank. And we have a handful of cars a lap down, handful of cars 2 and 3 laps down here. We've had 2 different cars retire from tonight's race. As we get a yellow flag out on the speedway, we're going to try and see. And it looks like Tanner Tallarico in the number 1 machine facing the wrong direction here in turns number 3 and 4. Definitely did not want to see that. Looks like Tim Rogers also down there. Tanner getting a little bit more damage to that number 1 machine. But that thing already looking a little beat up as we try and figure out what happened to the number 1 of Tallarico. Oh, it looks like he just gets loose off of turn number 4. Gets that thing fishtail and tries to save it. Tim Rogers, innocent bystander there, gets a piece of the outside wall. And Tallarico, a rare mistake from him out here tonight at Bristol. He'll loop that car around in front of some cars and end up facing the wrong direction. So Tallarico, not the night he wanted, as that thing a little bit more damage than what he would like. As it looks like Brian Wilderson getting the lucky dog once again this time by. So Wilderson will be back on the lead lap here, as everyone else going to try and race for that lucky dog spot, as Wilderson makes it 6 cars back on the lead lap here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. As we close into triple digits laps completed this time by, we'll see 99 laps down, and when we go back green flag race in action, we'll get up to those triple digit numbers as the lights still stay out on the pace car. It gives us time for some lap down cars to get down pit road, one being the 951 of Wilderson, Tanner Tallarico, Dave Payton, and Tim Rogers, all down on pit road, getting some either repairs or some fresh set of Goodyear tires. These drivers having 3 sets of tires over the wall here tonight for these 150 laps, so they can afford to come on down and get some new tires, especially for those drivers that did pit under green right around that lap 70 mark. Alrighty, folks, so top 5 going to be looking like the following once we go back green flag race in action. Stephen Hoffman will lead us to green. Hayden Swank up into P number 2. AJ Hamill has had a solid night so far. He's hoping to continue that. He will restart in P number 3. Ron Hart goes from the back of the field with a penalty all the way up to P number 4. And Brian Wilderson gets back on the lead lap. He'll be our 5th car on the lead lap, as Eric Strout having some sort of issues on pit road. Not sure what happened with him, but he stays pit side. And I think he took that thing to the garage. So Strout was looking like a solid run, but that night has since gone away, as he now finds himself back on the wrong side of the pit wall here tonight. The field will re-rack, restack, and get ready to go back green flag race in action. As Andrew said, he hoped tonight was a lot different than Martinsville, and so far that's been the case. 100 laps in, only 2 yellow flags off of turn number 4. The field will come. Hoffman gets a great jump on there from Hayden Swank. He'll have about 2 car length advantage over Swank, as Swank drives it in there deep and tries to make something happen. Ron Hart does get around Hamill for P number 3. So Ron the Hitman Hart up into the top 3 here. So Stephen Hoffman leading the way over Hayden Swank. These two very close to each other. Swank not letting Hoffman get on away. It looks like definitely a little bit more push from the drop of this green flag than we did in our first yellow flag. So we'll keep an eye on the battle for the race lead, how hard these guys push these cars here, still with under 50 to go, but still 45 laps to go here tonight. As we get a shot now from up on top of the booth here on the front stretch. That's the good old spotter cam. As that time by, Stephen Hoffman puts in the best lap from himself and the best lap of the session of 14.69 last time by. So Hoffman holding nothing back. He says it's go time, and the pace is matching that mentality. So we see the gap of the top three cars in the shot there. It goes Hoffman, Swank, and then Ron Hart closing the gap on Hayden Swank. Ron Hart rolling that inside very well. Like I said before many times here tonight, Ron Hart, quick time, so that 51 machine has a lot of speed. Now has to get around two very tough competitors though here with under 40 laps to go. AJ Hamill's still hanging on to P number 4. Brian Wilderson had to start tail end of the field with that lucky dog. He's riding on around in that 951 machine, hoping for another yellow flag and not to be in that yellow flag. Now new fastest lap, that being the one car of Tanner Tallarico. He's driving angry in that thing. Knows that, you know, we don't see very many mistakes out from that one car. He had one, and now he's trying to get back some time from that thing. As we head up back towards the front, Ron Hart within 2 car lengths of Hayden Swank for P number 2. Hayden Swank, maybe a little bit mirror driving, has moved down that line ever so slightly to cover Ron Hart down low. So we'll see if Ron Hart continues to run that inside line that he's running so well, or if he does change it on up and go to the outside of Hayden Swank. Right now does just that though. He looks to the outside of Swank. Now we'll try and cross him over here into turn number 1. Side by side battle for P number 2, but Swank gets the run up top, and we'll shut the door once again on Ron Hart. Dan McDonald in that 18 machine, maybe trying to get that lap back the hard way. He has caught these race leaders. He doesn't have fresher tires. Dan McDonald just on it right now, trying to get at least one lap back, so he's back in lucky dog contention. And he's got to go around these lead cars though here in a hurry. So Hayden Swank starting to pull away a little bit from Ron Hart, so we got to wonder, is Ron Hart's car going away a little, or maybe he's saving just a little bit before this final push of tonight's race? We'll have to wait and see, as everyone else very spread on out for the rest of the positions. As I believe we have the 9 machine of John Kane heading down pit road. Not sure if that's a scheduled stop or what's happening to him, but he will lose at least 2 laps as he heads down pit road in that number 9 machine from P number 10. So Dev McDonald gets around Ron Hart, now trying to get around Hayden Swank and doing just that down the backstretch. So Dev McDonald trying to get one of those laps back, like we said, the hard way, and doing just that, as now Ron Hart all over the back bumper of Hayden Swank. Now Ron will look to the inside, not quite there. As we ride on board with Hayden Swank, looking back to that number 51 machine of Ron Hart, we'll see how this battle shakes on out. Looking on back, seeing what Ron Hart's thinking in those eyes. You can see Ron Hart a little bit faster through the apex, but Hayden Swank not making any mistakes and keeping that run off these corners. So going to be very tough for Ron Hart to try and get around Hayden Swank, as he's doing everything right to keep that 51 machine behind him. As now Dev McDonald, his pace about leveling on out here, so we got to wonder, do we see him head back the other direction? And that means these lead lap cars going to have to try and get around that 18 machine if he does not get around Stephen Hoffman. Some cars trying to make it up into the front, get some laps back. That being the 38 Pinkerton machine of Dave Payne. Same with the one of Tanner Tallarico. Going to try and get their laps back the hard way, like Dev McDonald was trying, as we see this time by 25 laps to go here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So this race getting real interesting. What does our race leader Stephen Hoffman do? He's got a fast lap car behind him, and second and third right there as well. Does he let the lapper go? But then does that slow him on up enough that these second and third can get around? We'll find out here as Devin McDonald looks to the inside of Stephen Hoffman for the race lead. Now Hayden Swank tries to go to the top side, and here comes Dave Payton as well, trying to throw a wrench in the mix as well of these race leaders. So 5 cars can get thrown under a blanket here, excuse me, by me bouncing on around there trying to figure out where we're going. Looks like Devin McDonald does throw the chutes. No, the pace isn't back on that 18 machine. Does the gentlemanly thing, and we got to appreciate it as we out battle for the race lead. Stephen Hoffman up top. Hayden Swank trying to make this inside line work as we go side by side for the race lead here with about 20 laps to go. Swank gonna have to have some perfect corners and hope Hoffman makes a mistake up top, because Hoffman's gonna have a slightly preferred line. He's got the momentum up top, but now Hayden Swank has some more pressure, that being from Dave Payne, trying to get his 1 lap back and get back on the lead lap here in case there is a yellow flag by the end of the race. So Hayden Swank trying to run about a car length lower than Stephen Hoffman, trying to shorten up the track ever so slightly in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, about a car length off of the bottom. So these guys trying some different lines. Now Dave Payne looks to the inside of Hayden Swank for that second position, but trying to get his lap back, as now Ron Hart will get on around him, it looks like off of turn number 4. So it looks like these lappers get on up to, you know, at best P number 2, but their tires just fall off enough that they can't do anything, and they know their race isn't for the race lead, so they'll back on out of his. Ron Hart gets a good piece of the wall there in 3 and 4. You gotta wonder, how does that affect the car here with 16 laps to go? As we get our drone cam here flying around, we got some cams on some tethers here tonight, one of them being right here. These cars going right underneath it as we see the battle now for second. Once again, heat on up. Ron Hart trying to make this inside line work on the 35 machine of Hayden Swank. They go door to door, and it's dead even by the time they get to turn number 1. Ron Hart has the run. He'll slide on up, pull the slider on Hayden Swank. Now Swank will try and do the same in the 35 machine. Hart will keep that thing up there as Hoffman gets a piece of the wall. That was slowing on up right in front of this battle. Now Ron Hart has the run up top. He'll look to the inside for the race lead. Side by side here. Looks like Hoffman has enough for a run, but Ron Hart sends it on in there into turn number 3, excuse me. They stay side by side here for the race lead. Ron Hart, though, has to know it's go time here with just over 10 laps to go. Ron Hart will slide on up, take that line away from Hayden Swank, not let him get to the outside, and Ron Hart will try and regroup, regather, and try and make another run at it. I think Ron Hart's going to have to run the top lane for about 2 laps, build that momentum on up, and then try and do what he did to Hayden Swank. Get a big run, stay side by side, and then the next corner, slide job that race leader. We'll see what Ron Hart can do now. He'll look to the inside. We'll back on out of it. Luckily, Hayden Swank on top of that brake pedal and does check on up for that 51 machine. Now Swank will look to the inside of Ron Hart here. We will see now single digits to go. 9 laps to go here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And this battle for the race lead, folks, has us on the edge of our seats. Even though 5 cars on the lead lap with that weirdly timed yellow flag in the middle, green flag pit stops, it is still a heck of a race as we have all 3 cars right under a blanket. This is heating up to be a good old-fashioned Bristol finish if I've ever seen one. So Hoffman doing everything right. He's keeping Ron Hart at bay. Hart trying to get that momentum up top. He did prefer that inside lane. He was quick down there, but he knows he has to be up top to get that run to try and get a shot at our race lead. Hayden Swank kind of falling on back a little bit here to that number 51 machine of Ron Hart. AJ Hamill, though, slowly making his way back up to the front here, taking about a 10th off or so each lap to the back bumper of Hayden Swank. So we'll have to see if Hamill has anything for Swank by the end of this race. as everyone starts to spread on out here with open palm from the flagman. Now goes down to 4 fingers up in the air. 4 laps to go here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and AJ Hamill has caught Swank in a hurry. He looks to the inside of that 35 machine down the backstretch. AJ Hamill looking for his top 3 in the first start in that Arts Barber number 44 machine. He'll be to the inside of Swank here, heading into turn number 1. What will he try here with 3 laps to go? Out in front, Stephen Hoffman doing everything right. He's on the pace and has a little bit of breathing room too. Ron Hart, popsicle sticks up in the air at the Bristol Motor Speedway here for the field. 2 laps to go. 2 very quick circuits around this place as Hamill has running out of time to make a move. He has to do it here sooner than later as Stephen Hoffman will see the white flag. 1 more lap to go as they make contact here on the front stretch. Hamill trying to get everything he can as they'll go side by side down the back stretch here. It's going to be a race for third, but off at turn number 4, it is Stephen Hoffman in the 23 machine parking that thing down in victory lane. Ron Hart in second, and Hayden Swank does hold off AJ Hamill for that third position. AJ Hamill, a solid run from that 44 machine, will finish 4th, and Brian Wilderson will round out the top 5, the last car on the lead lap. But a heck of a run by these drivers as we will now head to the front stretch and see Stephen Hoffman burning on down here tonight in that 23 machine. Was the biggest mover in the Sunday series, got himself back up in the top 10. Now will park it down in victory lane here and go celebrate a race win here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I know he's excited, folks. As Stephen Hoffman always has a dedicated crowd following him around in his virtual racing series, and tonight they won't be disappointed as he parks it down in victory lane. He pulls out the Polish victory lap here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. He'll head around the track in the reverse direction, waving to all the fans and thanking them for showing on up, because that was a heck of a race here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I know I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did as well. He'll pull it back down on the front stretch here, and he will stop at the start finish line. So we'll be right back here after the break. We're going to go to commercial break and talk with our top 3. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. As we head down to the front stretch of the Bristol Motor Speedway, our first driver we're going to be talking to here tonight, he had a very solid piece. It is the 35 machine of Hayden Swank. Hayden, you got a copy of Brett the Jet here in the booth.
Hey, Brett, what's going on?
Oh, man, not too much. A heck of a race, though, here tonight at Bristol. Hayden, tell us about this 35 machine. That thing looked very fast.
Yeah, I really loved the car, loved the track that first run. We fell back to third, just saving the tire, but eventually, just racing the track, it came back to us, and from there it was on. I mean, I was cruising. I was fine to just ride like that for the rest of the race, but even after the caution, we were still pretty fast. I figured I could just save the right front, save the left rear the way I had in the first run, and then pass my way back to the front in the last 25. But I think the pace was just a lot quicker. And there was a lot more rubber all over the track, so there was no distinctive way to get that tire advantage. But all in all, third place, still a solid night.
Yeah, that it was, Hayden. Like you said, a lot of speed, especially the late run. Were you hoping that thing was going green to the whole race?
Oh, if that race went green, that would have been awesome. I mean, I have no doubt I probably would have won it if that was the case. I think, I had saved the tire, kind of properly the whole run in order to set up for a fully green flag race. So I was ready for it. I don't think, I could have been beaten by people that, had pitted for tires. I don't think the tires had anything for us, but unfortunately just not meant to be. But still a good run. Huge hats off to Steven and Ron there. That was some awesome racing there at the end.
Yeah, that was. And Hayden, we got to talk about that race. And like you said, that 35 machine dialed in for the long run. You doing a heck of a job of saving those tires. But that battle there at the end between Steven, you, and Ron, I mean, that had to be a bunch of fun. And it seemed like, you could get a run, but very, very tough to pass.
Yeah, that was the easy part was getting the run. The hard part was making use of it. There's good news and bad news. Good news is we had multi-groove racing. The bad news is we had multi-groove racing, which meant you really couldn't get anybody offline to really pass them. You really just had to be up on the wheel and work it. And unfortunately, I just couldn't quite get the job done to get back to the front there at the end.
Yeah, Hayden, and looking at the points, you are the points leader heading into tonight, and I believe coming out from tonight, and you got to be pretty happy with that, as we're now completion with this race. We're one race away from the playoffs. How are you feeling about those?
Yeah, I was really hoping, honestly, to get the win, not just just a win, but also to get the points heading into the points resets and the playoff. But either way, I think I've kind of had a good form, especially this past back half of the season. Really found some consistent runs, found some speed. So if I can carry that into the playoffs here, I am feeling good about my chances of getting to take home my first ASRC championship. So
yeah, that would definitely be something. As Hayden, you definitely have shown that speed, like you said, that now consistency in the second half of the season. So before we let you go and celebrate this third place finish, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for this 35 machine.
Yeah, just really want to thank the AT&T Wi-Fi for not giving out tonight, but I also want to thank the ASRC. Y'all always put on such a good show, and really appreciate running with y'all every single Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Yeah, I tell you what, Hayden, pleasure having you out here. You definitely bring the game, let's say, each and every week. So appreciate you spending your time with American Sim Racing Club and putting on a show as always. So Hayden, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you before this season is over.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher, Hayden Swank. There. Now we'll head down to our runner-up finisher, that being Ron the Hitman Hart here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Ron, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth.
Yeah, okay, but
Alrighty, Ron. First, we got to go back all the way to the beginning of tonight. You were a quick time, but then you dropped to the tail. Was that of your own doing?
yeah, I had some we'll say technical difficulties with the car. I wanted to feel it out for a few laps and make sure everything was good before we got in there and was messing up anybody else's race.
Gotcha. Well, you didn't do that, Ron. You made your way all the way almost through the whole field. You're up to your best of P number 2. That's where you finished. I mean, that had to be pretty fun, dicing it through the field and somehow, of course, staying on that lead lap. That had to be a little bit stressful with that long green flag run at first.
Yeah, it was fun. By the time we figured out kind of our technical issues, we were only 2 seconds from getting lapped and ended up driving all the way back to within 3 seconds of the lead. So it kind of worked out good, just cruising around there and saving tires inadvertently. When it was time to go, then I had some left to go and pass everybody on the bottom.
Yeah, that you did. And Ron, that 51 machine looked hooked up on the bottom. I tell you what, you had some of the best corner speed here tonight. What'd you kind of figure out at the Bristol Motor Speedway?
I just figured the top was going to be congested. Most guys would run it, and it really burns their tires off up there. So I kind of got a little bit of practice and just focused on the bottom and just hooking around there and saved some tire, I believe, and kind of just get some clean air on the car, which worked out well. And I don't think the first lap I ran all day around the top was with like 10 to go. So had to learn a little bit up there on the fly, and maybe that cost me in the end not having the experience that those other guys did up there. But it was a fun race for sure.
Yeah, that it was. You got to the back bumper and the inside of Stephen Hoffman for the race lead, but it seemed like it was very tough to pass once these tires kind of even on out. Was that the case?
Yeah, Stephen got lucky because he didn't have to deal with the lappers. Some of them guys pitted, and I wish I would have pitted. I had nothing to lose there, but Those guys pitted, had 15, 20 lap fresher tires, so they were coming pretty hard, and they got by me and Hayden, so I had to work to pass them back, and that used up a lot of tire that Steve didn't have to use. Running up front the whole run really helped him out, and he did a really good job of not making any mistakes and get it done.
Yeah, that he did. No big mistakes, and I'm sure, Ron, you were hoping for at least one to try and get a shot at it, but you gave it your all. You come home tonight, P number 2, with an impressive run from starting at the back. I mean, that is definitely awesome to see. And the real life stuff, Ron, you had a little bit of success there. I believe a top 5 finish first night out in that 51 street stock.
Yeah, got wrecked by some big money guy who doesn't know what he's doing, but so don't look as pretty anymore, but didn't hurt any of the expensive stuff. We're able to come back and get a top 5 out of 15 really good cars that we had. So that was a lot of fun, and look forward to this season.
Yeah, that I'm looking forward to keeping with the updates from you as well. As that's a bummer that she got a little beat up on opening night for you, but at the end of the day, coming home with a top 5 shows what kind of driver you are, and coming home second here tonight. I mean, do you think iRacing has helped you for the real life stuff? I know me and my dad always talk about it, and we say there's definitely advantage. What do you feel like?
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I mean, you go out for like Saturday first practice and first lap on the track. I think we had the fastest lap of the day on used tires. So I mean, you don't need warm ups. You just feel more comfortable in it, and then racecraft around cars. So I encourage anybody who looks to race in real life to get it and get practice. I think it keeps us sharp over the winter. So when it's time to go racing in real life, you're ready to go.
Exactly, Ron. And that is a big help, especially in Michigan, where we don't get to race for not quite half a year, but close to that. And I tell you what, racecraft, like you mentioned, a big help. iRacing, you got to race so close to cars, and it definitely gives you a lot more comfortability for the real life stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper to run laps on here than it is in real life too. Not a bad thing.
that is very true. You wreck something here, you can just reset. Real life, it definitely doesn't work that easy.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm learning that the hard way this week for sure. But we'll have it ready to go for Saturday. It might not look as pretty, beating some panels out and putting them back together the best we can, but should be fast.
Yeah, it should be. Well, Ron, before we let you go and celebrate tonight's runner-up finish, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and, thank who you got to thank that made this car so quick here tonight with the quick time in the second place.
Just guys for putting on the lead, you guys doing the broadcast. Shout out to Chuck, still celebrating, I'm sure, his first ASRC win last Wednesday. So I want to shout out to him. I know he's watching, and look forward to running some more in the playoffs. Unfortunately, I won't make next week got work obligations, so that will DQ me from the playoffs. But hopefully, I can come in here and steal some wins in the playoffs from guys and not mess them up too bad.
There you go, Ron. There you go, Ron. Doing some trophy hunt, as I'm sure we'll be talking to you a lot more throughout this season. So, Ron, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, that was our second place finisher, Ron the Hitman Hart. Now we head down track side here to talk to our race winner, that being the 23 Machina, Stephen Hoffman, picking up his first win of the season. Stephen, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth.
Yeah, I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, man. So you get the monkey off your back this season. You pick up your first win here at Bristol. You lock yourself into the playoffs. Steven, tell us how you're feeling.
Oh, man, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. We were always right there, and then something happened, and tonight, kind of a whim. I wasn't going to hop on. I was going to work on the real car or do something else because it's kind of it's kind of over finishing second and third and top fives. But decided to man up and hop on, and ended up working out for us.
Yeah, that it did, Steven. And I tell you what, not an easy race, not an easy track to race at, win at, especially. And then, you had a lot of pressure on your back bumper throughout this race. I mean, you, Ron, and Hayden seemed like you guys were battling. You and Hayden at first battling a lot. And then at the end there, all three of you guys right there. And, no big mistakes. I mean, that had to be a lot of pressure for that win there.
Yeah, in practice we were kind of mid-pack, and I kind of just slowed down driving the track, and smoother is faster, and was rolling into 1 and 3 a lot easier and getting a lot of speed coming out of 3 and 4. So took that into the race, and was Ron and Hayden both were super fast in practice, and they both qualified up front. Hayden and I, we've been pretty close all year. But again, back to if he doesn't have bad luck, I do, vice versa. And Ron hasn't been running the full schedule, so when those two are together, it's really close in the top 5 here with all the whole group.
Yeah, that it is a very tight battle, like you said, throughout this race, and especially there at the finish. I mean, Steven, a lot of factors coming in at the end. A little bit of lap traffic. I mean, that had to throw some extra pressure. Like I keep on saying the word pressure, but that is a lot you had tonight. I mean, I'm sure you were watching your mirror and hoping that, they didn't affect your line too much when they got to you. Luckily, you held even them off.
Yeah, Ron and I talked about it before we hopped in here, and that last caution, a couple cars pitted, so they had fresher tires. They were lapped. They caught up to us quick. I was able to pass one of them back, and after I seen Hayden was having problems getting around him, I kind of decided to put a little distance between us, and that helped out a ton. So lap traffic definitely helped out, and then the last 20 laps, I was definitely checking out the mirror, trying not to mirror drive too much, and let Ron try to work his way up to me a little bit, just I guess kind of play games, let him think he's catching you, and then when he gets to you, he realizes he's burned all his stuff up, and I think that might have been what happened, because I think with the last 5, I kind of pulled back a nice half a car length or so ahead of him.
Yeah, that you did. It seemed like those last 5 laps, you turned up the wick, said whatever you got left in the tank, you're going to give it. And Steven, you did that here tonight. You park it down in victory lane. And I tell you what, you've had, like you said, some good runs, but not quite able to get the job done. Now you do here tonight at Bristol, lock yourself in, and some pretty good runs on the dirt. I mean, not having the start you wanted, but by the end of those races, I mean, last Sunday we didn't get to talk to you after, but biggest mover up in the top 10 by the end of the night.
Yeah, I can't figure those things out when the track's fresh, but give it about 20 laps and start to slick off, I start ticking them off.
Yeah, that you do, and you start coming in a hurry, and it is impressive to watch you slice and dice in that mid-pack. Always very wild there on the dirt, and you do an awesome job to get on through it. So, Steven, once again, huge congratulations. I mean, now looking at the playoffs, now 1 week, technically one race in between. I mean, you got to feel a lot better knowing you're locked in, but now looking forward to the playoffs. What's your mentality going into there?
Now that we got a win, I guess we can kind of play it safe, and I'm kind of bummed about the championship. We had to miss a race a couple weeks ago, so I think we might be in second now, but Hayden's still got a decent lead on us now. But this definitely helps getting a win tonight, going into playoffs, and we'll just try to keep it up front and not lose the momentum.
Yep, that's going to be the key, as those playoffs. Consistency will be the key, as, elimination rounds always throw a big wrench into everyone's game plan, and, you want to be in the top 4 by the going into that final race. So, Steven, once again, huge congratulations down in victory lane here tonight at Bristol. I'm going to go hand over the mic to you, because I know you got some loyal fans tuning in each and every week, it seems like, on the broadcast.
Yeah, shout out to, I don't know how much my family watches, but almost got all of them in. Mom, Dad, my sister Shell, and my brother Kyle. Shout out to you in the booth, ASRC, for putting on good, clean racing, and just thankful to get the opportunity to race with everybody.
Yeah, glad you made the show here tonight, Steven, as you park it down in victory lane for your first win of the season. I know that's always a great feeling, as Steven, you have yourself a great one, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you, like you said, some more throughout the season with the consistency you've been showing here recently.
We can only hope.
Alrighty, Steven. Well, I think that'll do it here down in victory lane. We won't keep you any more from celebrating. So you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll be talking to you some more here on the flip side.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, folks. That was Steven Hoffman and the number 23 machine down in victory lane, burning it on down for the fans. So heck of a job by him getting the job done here tonight, as now we'll head on up and go through the rest of tonight's finishing results and start the post-race wrap-up here. Steven Hoffman in the 23 machine picks up his first win of the season, locks himself into the playoffs late here. Ron, the Hitman Hart, in the 51 machine will finish runner-up, with Hayden Swank in the 35 finishing in third. AJ Hamill, a great run for him in that 44 machine. Just ran out of time to get up on that podium and talk to me. He will finish fourth. And Brian Woodison in the 951 machine rounds out the top 5. Sixth going to Dave Payton in that 38 machine. Seventh is Tanner Tallarico in the 1 8th is Dev McDonald in the 18 with Zach Rush in the 82 finishes 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Tristan Perry. 11th going to Tim Rogers. 12th is John Cade, Eric Stout. And we'll finish 13th. 14th going to Deontay Hero, Brandon Marlowe 15th. And that'll round out tonight's starting field. As we, of course, got to give a huge shout out to all the guys and gals in the YouTube chat land, all the people tuning in live, spending your Tuesday night with me. Be sure to tune in next week as we have the season cutoff at the Kansas Speedway. You won't want to miss that. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth from Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to tune in to Turn 3 throughout the week as we have a lot of great series, a lot of great broadcasters doing a lot of great coverage that you won't want to miss. Everyone take care, have a good one, and we'll catch you on the season finale here next week on the Turn 3 Racing Network. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.